if you guys go to performancetrucks.net, I'll put the link down below. There's a forum on there specifically discussing popular bolt-ons for the 99 to 2007 trucks like mine, like Goldie Hawn. And I've been kind of using that loosely as a guide to help me decide what to do next for my truck. And number 9 on their list, I think their list is 16 items long, so there's a lot to do. Anyway, number 9 on that list is this. Looks kind of like a cassette player. Hold on. This. Now, the most common choice of electric fan for these trucks is the Ls1 Style Fan, which is typically found in like a 98 to 2002 Camaro with the Ls1. Some Corvettes from that era had similar fans. That's if you have the smaller radiator on your trucks. Some of them have like a heavier duty radiator, which I think has a 34-inch core, if I remember correctly. I think the smaller ones had like a 28.25 inch, right around there. Don't quote me on it. Like I said, I'll link it below. Do all your proofreading there. Anyway, I decided to do the same thing since it's such a common swap. So I ordered a set of Ls1 fans from eBay. You can find them all over eBay for around $100. Some are less, some are more. A lot of times they don't have the wiring and the plug, so that's something to think about. Anyway, this is such a common swap that it can realistically be done in, I think, 4 steps. If it's not 4 steps, I'm going to reshoot this and you'll never know. Aside from me just telling you. Now to do that, I'm gonna have to take this intake off to get that out of the way. Disconnect this clamp so I can move the hose out of the way. There's a little hose here. And then there's a bolt in each corner, and unbolt the fan, pull that out, and it should come right out. Alright, now that the old clutch fan and the shroud is out, you can see there is so much more room in here. Honestly, more than my hands spread apart between the radiator and the front pulley. Before we get too far into the install, I do want to point this out. The Ls1 fan is significantly smaller than the stock, significantly smaller than the stock Silverado radiator. Here you can see on the other side, there's about the same gap. That's probably my bad, but I didn't know about that. God, fuck, that was bright. I probably could have done a little bit more research when looking into the Ls1 fan swap deal, but I wasn't aware of that. So I just wanted to take a second to point that out. But it should be a pretty simple fix, I guess. All that I'm gonna do right here is where the stock fan shroud bolted on. I'm just going to make a little mount that goes from there to here. This is just open area behind it, and I'm just gonna screw it in. Bottom of the fan's just sitting on this little tray down here, and it has a lip so it can't go anywhere. I'm just gonna use some like 16 gauge sheet metal, and it should be fine. Back to the install. About 4. This one. We'll do about 4 again on this one too.
Ventilating after exploration.
Normally to wire it, I would just run some power wires into a toggle switch in there, and then just run them out here to the connectors, flip them on and off. It's easy peasy. But in the spirit of doing things right, we have this right here. This is a Nelson Performance wiring harness. It was 120 bucks after shipping. It's pretty much plug and play. You'll just plug these two connectors into the fan, screw those relays somewhere. Here's power and ground. Here's the wire that goes to the PCM to get the signal, and this wire right here goes to your air conditioning signal wire, I believe they called it. On these 99 to 2002 trucks, Nelson does a one wire PCM setup. On the 03 and later trucks, they'll do two wires for the PCM. I believe it's pins 42 and 33 maybe, don't quote me on that. But on this one it's just the one wire. I believe it's pin 42 on the blue side, and then there's a little harness right down here that you'll just get into, and it comes with a fitting that you just clamp on that and it splices itself in. You can just plug this wire in and you're good. And then there's just two power wires and two grounds that you can hook up right off this battery connector terminal. And then once you get the computer tuned for fans, you're all good to go. I should probably mention I'm slightly colorblind. Which one's green? Alright, so we're almost done. The last thing left to do is plug in the wire to the PCM. It's the blue connector. I believe it was pin 42. If it's not, I'll put text right here correcting myself. And then after that, all you'd have to do is just tune the truck for the fans, which I've already done. I did that a few days ago because I'm still tweaking with it. Then after that, we're pretty much done. Alright, it is getting dark quick, so I'm gonna try and finish this up pretty quickly. Like I said, all that's left is connecting the wire to pin 42. And pin 42 will be this one right there, the second one in on the left side. All you'll have to do is just push something through there to clear it out and then pop the wire in, bolt the connector back in, and you're good to go. Anyway, I hope, hold on. Hope this video helps. It really was a super simple job. It sucked that it started to get dark out and you couldn't really see there much at the end. So yeah, I highly recommend the Nelson Performance Kit. Was it Nelson Performance? I feel like I'm saying the name wrong. But yeah, I highly recommend the Nelson Performance wiring harness. It made it so simple. The hardest thing about the entire install was trying to get the wire in the PCM in pin 42. Stop licking me. The hardest thing about the entire install was trying to get the wire in the PCM in pin 42. That was a bitch. I was confident about every other connection on the harness except that one, because I could only get the pin in about 7/8 of the way in, and it just every time I'd try to push it in more, the wire would just kind of start to kink. And I'm sure if I had tried more or lubed it up a little bit, it would have went in just fine, but I got it about 90% of the way in and said, fuck. Luckily it did work, so if that's something you're worried about, 90% is good enough. Nope, he's out of there. It was super simple to install. Would have been 5 to 10 minutes if I wasn't trying to film things and getting cold and getting dark. The only thing you'll probably have to have someone else do is tune it, which just about any tuner should be able to do that for pretty cheap, and then you're golden, pony boy. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, why not? It's free. Just do it. Just fucking do it. And I'll see you guys next time, probably doing more stuff with cars. See ya.